Welcome to today's Spectra Geospatial webinar on GPS week number rollover on April 6, 2019. My name is Stefan Lutz. I'm the GNSS Market Manager for Triple Geospatial and Spectra Geospatial GNSS receivers. We're going to cover some generic topics. What is the week number rollover and when will this happen? What is Spectra Geospatial's approach? What is the consequence of the rollover? What actions are needed? What steps should you and your customers take? Additional information and how we communicate this event. So what is the week number rollover? When will this happen? GPS provides the current date and time information represented as a week number. This week number is a 10-digit binary number starting with 0 to 1023 for a total of 1024 weeks. After that, it rolls over back to 0. This event happens every 19.7 years. Happened already for the first time in August 21, 1999, and will happen again this year on April 6, 2019. So any GNSS receiver that doesn't account for this rollover will report a wrong date. And every GNSS receiver with a non-compliant firmware will see errors. To guard against those errors, users are encouraged to install compliant receiver firmware. Our approach is our product management and engineering teams are proactive in their approach to the week number rollover. We know about those events. They are taken into consideration when we design new products and develop new systems that use GPS. We have test plans in place for hardware and software related to all GNSS receivers. And we also have multi-constellation GNSS simulators, and we can test for this event, for those events to happen in different scenarios. We're looking into real-time kinematic and static surveys. We're looking into which outputs and input messages the system provides before and after one of those events, and also what files and the file conversions do with those data. What is the consequence of the rollover? So any receiver that doesn't account for this rollover, doesn't have the right firmware installed, will see errors. So we need to make sure that customers install the required firmware upgrade. So most of the Spectra GNSS receivers today will require a firmware update to successfully handle the week number rollover change. And in order to do that, we have provided a list with a minimum required firmware to support that. Firmware that is required as a minimum to support week number rollover are free of charge. What action is needed? So Spectra GNSS receiver firmware versions must be upgraded. This is a mandatory step. Please reach out to your customers immediately and instruct them to download and install the latest compliant firmware. If your customers do not take action by April 6, 2019, the receivers will stop working functionally correctly. On the receiver field software, we use Survey Pro. The updated Spectra Geospatial receiver firmware for current instruments will be backwards compatible with the current shipping version of Survey Pro, version 6.4.1. So in this case, you don't need another version, a new version of Survey Pro. Survey Pro versions 5.52 and older are not compatible with the week number rollover firmware that is shipping with the instruments. So customers who currently have Survey Pro version 5.52 and either an SP80 receiver or SP60 receiver that are on firmware 338, they must contact the support team in order to get a license code for Survey Pro version 5.6.4 in order to be compliant with the week number rollover. All retired instruments will be compatible with Survey Pro versions that supported those instruments at the time when the instrument was retired.
This is Boris speaking. Just briefly covering the impact on the Office software, the Spectra Precision Survey Office. The affected users will see the impact of the week number rollover in a form of a year 1999 when they tried to import data from the affected receivers, which will cause baseline post-processing not to work. The patch we have issued already, and it's available on the Spectra website for over a month now. So you will need a patch 3 for version 4.10. So the version number is going to be 4.10.3, which will enable post-processing to work. As I said, the patch is available either directly on the Spectra Geospatial website or within the SPSO software. Users can go to check for updates, and they will see available updates. For the users whose warranty has expired prior to April 1st, 2018, when version 4.10 was released, will be provided an upgrade at no cost via our support channels.
Thanks, Boris. We have published a support bulletin that details out all firmware versions needed as a minimum or recommended to deal with this weak number rollover. On page 2 of the support document, all those details are listed, also including links to the download page where the firmware can be found. So please instruct your customers to go there and download firmware that they need to get their receivers updated, so they will continue working after April 6th. So all the information is provided in 2 places. We have the support link, link to the support document, and we also have our Geo Instrument newsletter. There have been several versions of this information already, and we continue over the next few weeks to at least once a week have another version of this document, just to make sure people see that and get instructed to reach out to the end users to really make sure they have their firmware version updated prior to April 6th. Additional information is also provided on the web by the U.S. Department of Homeland Security, just some generic information on this event, and there's also a lot of more information available if you do a Google search and on weak number rollover from all kinds of publications. So please watch out for this information, and we will keep sending throughout the next weeks another versions of the Geo Instruments newsletter to talk about this important event and what our distribution channel has to take action on with their end users. Public facing, we have the information on trimble.com. We have the specific bulletin that covers the Geo Instruments Spectra branded products. We have this webinar as a recording for convenience, and we'll also post the link to that in the next version of the Spectra Geospatial newsletter. This concludes this week's webinar on the GPS weak number rollover. Thank you.